Yo, we're here, y'all. Brooklyn FerrisWheelJay.
Yeah.
I love it. Yo, I've been following your journey. We're gonna get into this, but I'm loving everything you're doing. Where we at?
So we at Rockwell Studios, and I'm gonna bring you to the lab, my uncle's personal studio. I'm gonna, show you around a little bit.
Let's go. First of all, I love the vibe in here. Super, I mean, we're gonna get to walk through.
Yeah,
I come from another side of the studio, but this looks already like super artsy.
Super, super artsy. Yeah.
I wanna know inspirations. People in your family, people behind the scenes that have truly inspired you to stay motivated.
So honestly, like here, we in Rockwell Studios. It's a creative space where there's a lot of other studios, but we're gonna head over to my uncle's studio. His it's Vinny from the block, and he's someone obviously aside from being family, someone I've seen my whole life in the creative space and in the industry. And then we won the Emmy together. So now we're
That's
doing
so
a lot of
fire.
things. So
Okay.
it's pretty dope, having family that inspires. And then my other people's around me, like my guy Santana, who's my director, my best friend Paul, who I've been doing content with since we was younger. There's a few people around me that keep me inspired, but lately I've been telling people I've been my biggest inspiration, respectfully. So
Yo, I love that. And I feel like we shy from that vulnerability of seeing ourselves as like, who's the one that wakes you up in the morning? You.
Yeah.
Who's the one that's walking to all these auditions and you? Who's the creative behind you? Like, we don't give ourselves enough credit. So I really love that you said that. All right, show us.
Thank you.
Tell us what's up here.
Yeah, so this rock climbing wall that I'm not climbing, I can't climb. I know a few people that have.
What? Okay, but
Yeah, that's why it's called Rockwall Studios. So they got a rock climbing wall.
imagine me and then bloop. But if we fall, is there like a consent
So
for like if
they-
I fall,
They completely.
I sue?
Nah, it's on your consent because you see, there's no padding here no more. So that was if you fall, you hurt yourself.
Wow, that was like, all right, you're having a bad day, just climb the wall and then you take it from there.
But same thing, like this building has like a whole bunch of like hairdressers, photo studios. There's a tattoo parlor in here. There's obviously music studios. It's like just an overall creative space that everybody here like they know of each other or help each other, that type of thing. So
I absolutely love spaces like this. I feel like this is something New York needed from like then. You know what I'm
to be fair,
saying?
the West Coast is the one that I know that did it first. Like they were the ones that usually had like the communities of people doing different content. They had the first content houses. They had the warehouses where people had different things that they were renting out, like their own little mini malls type thing.
Yo, that's so true.
Yeah.
And now that you're giving credit to that, like it makes I didn't even think of it like that. Because even like with like plant houses, I don't know if this makes sense or what if it's even called that, but they have like these structures where they're going green. So it's like plants within the building. I seen that on the West Coast first.
Yeah.
Now I'm seeing that over here.
They're doing it adds dope, like we right here. It's called the Lab Studios.
Fire. Ooh, I thought that was
No,
the
you
door.
good. No, that's
You. I'm like, what's happening?
Yeah, he's still under construction now.
No, but this is so good to have, man.
He gutted everything out. It's doing all the walls over and stuff like that.
So what are you guys recording here? Basically, all the voiceovers.
So I'm gonna be the bearer of bad news. I'm not in production anymore, right? I'm in more so the creative direction realm.
Okay.
So my uncle has always been the music producer. We produced as well, like since I was small. The record we did together that a lot of people forget about is we did Off the Rip. That's the record that we had produced together.
Nice.
Yeah, and that was like our first, like that was a big summer anthem for us that everybody knew the record. Then ASAP Rocky hopped on the remix. Rest in Peace Chinks was on it. Noriega was on it. Yeah, so it was a real big record for us that we did as a squad.
Shit, I told literally when you say people forgot about it, I love that you just said that. Wow.
They still play it, which is dope to hear. But when it comes to the production aspect, I do more so of like the creative, like I said, the creative direction of like he'll do the production and the music, and then I'm thinking of the music video. I'm thinking of how we're gonna market it. I'm thinking of like getting content within the music video, that aspect of it. And we're doing that with our cousin Madison Reyes. We've been working on her stuff and other people through the realms. It's been a fun journey.
That is super cool to hear.
Yeah.
And then you saying family. saying with a cousin, another cousin, an uncle, a cousin. I mean, community is so big. I'm one that thrives off of community. I'm one that I feel like if it wasn't for my community, I wouldn't be where I am today. And that's community.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into that when we get into the Sprinter.
Since I was a kid, I've always like watched like my heroes, like rest in peace, Robin Williams, you know, Jim Carrey, the Wayans brothers were in Living Color. I watched a lot of people as a kid like do multiple different voices. And that was always something I practiced as a child watching. So as I got older, I want to like during COVID, everybody has their, you know, success COVID story. That's when I started doing voiceovers.
Yep.
And when I did my short stories, I always had a raspy voice. So and I just found that realm of doing it, and then I went to school. I went to voiceover classes, so I actually took it professionally, and got a certificate for that. To like, people knew me in it for social media, but then now if I want to get like a deal or partnerships, like I'm telling people like, hey, I get these views and aspects and these analytics, but I also went to school for it, so I have the professional realm of, you know, doing it the correct way and auditioning the right way.
Ooh, you hear that, y'all? Y'all could go to school for it too.
Yeah.
Wow. I love it. Yeah. All right. So your uncle's not coming. He's not going to be here?
Nah.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll go into the let's go into the Sprinter now. Yo, we are here with the Big Apple's voice. Yo, if the map had a face and a voice, if those spots in New York had a face and a voice, I mean, if you could make it here, it's because you follow this man and his face and voice. Yo, FerrisWheelJay, I am super honored to have you in the Sprinter.
Thank you for having me.
To pull up on you.
Thank you.
To catch up to you because you everywhere.
Yeah, doing my best.
Everywhere.
Doing my best.
Oh my God, and we're loving it.
Yeah.
I say this: if the history of New York, if the history of NYC had a voice, and how dope it is to grow up in this city and then to be able to make a career off of highlighting the city you grew up in.
Yeah, that's probably like the most special thing about it, of like, you know, doing something that turned from a hobby, well, really from a passion to a hobby, and then a hobby to, like, I want to say a career now.
So let's take it all the way back. Growing up in NYC, how was that? What was it like being a little boy in a big city?
It was, you know, it was very interesting. You know, I have that New York style story of, you know, being raised by the grandparents.
Me too.
I was, you know, in East New York. You know, I was from the hood. You know, just like the staple things of like in the '90s. You know, growing up. But then I went to military school, so that was the aspect that a lot of people don't know. That
was different.
Yeah, no one knows that about me other than like my actual friends and family that I still, you know that aspect. But 6th grade, I went to military school, and not because I was bad, right? If anyone saw that movie Major Payne with with the Wayans, I was that kid that was like bad, but then turned, you know, good. Like I wasn't like a street kid, but I needed some, you know, polishing around with things.
It was more the attitude and the drive, and we had to make it positive before it went.
Exactly.
It was one of those.
Yep. And you know, like I said, you know, being in that area where I lived at, the zone schools were like gang driven, and then my family couldn't afford private school, so I had the opportunity to go to a military school, and I went from the 6th grade to the 12th grade, and then volunteered for like 5 more years after that. And you know, like it was a good experience. Like I said, I didn't join the military, but it instilled a lot of things in me. Like I'm always early to things. I'm always taking initiative. I'm motivated for a lot of things, and you know, I was grateful for that opportunity.
Wow, absolutely love to hear that. Yeah. Is there a NYC moment as a kid that you can think about now that to say like, oh my God, I wish then like I had my voice behind this, or something that you went through that has inspired who you are today?
You know, it's funny. I'm someone that always tell people I don't live like with regrets or wish I could have done anything in before the past, because I'm a very, very big firm believer of what happens was supposed to happen. So if I felt like I should have been somewhere 10 years ago in my 20s, it wasn't my time. And I wouldn't have been the person with the humility and the humbleness that I practice and everything else today. Because I had opportunities when I was 15, 16, I was on Silent Library. So that was like my first like claim to fame that people saw me for that, you know, that episode. And it was actually one of the highest rated episodes on MTV. And there was no social media at the time. So it was just like a ratings aspect that producers from, you know, Viacom, they're the ones that own it, told me like, yo, you and your friends like have one of the highest rated episodes on Silent Library history. And that was like the 4th season we were in. And I realized with that, right, I know how to cast because it was all personal friends and my best friend. And I was like, I needed to cast the right people that I knew the energy would be like synergy, like it's all with each other and natural, organic. And we got casted, and then that turned into, you know, me pursuing content around that time. Yeah, like when I first got on Silent Library.
Wow. Yeah. I was gonna say, you bring me back to like reading Rainbow. You bring me back to like
Arthur, Magic School Bus, all that.
Wait a minute. What about when Channel 13 used to put like the PBS, how to make the crayons, and that's what that's what your stories, that's what it gives.
Yeah, it's very like, so right. I the first question I ask content people or people in general in entertainment is like, respectfully, what's the purpose for what you're doing? What do you want to do for what you're doing, right? Because then now you teach people the aspect of, are they doing this as they want it as a career to take professionally, or are they doing it as a hobby? And there's nothing wrong with both, right? But I'm going for the aspect of longevity and sustainability. I don't want to just be someone that's known that gets mad views, right? The same for artists. Like I tell artists, like, what's the purpose of the songs that you're doing? Because if you're just doing what's current, you're following a trend that's gonna die. And that's why I always tell people, don't be following trends, be the trendsetter, right? And people just see it easier to follow things. And I would never be a follower. I can't, like, it's not in my blood and my nature and my team either. Like, I always preach people, why fit in when you can stand out? Because there's always everyone striving to fit in for things. Yeah. And when you stand out, you stick out like a sore thumb.
Wow. And I love that you say that, because even looking at your content and seeing the work you do, I always say I see so many things that blow up and happen, and I'm like, why didn't we think of that? And I feel like what you're doing is something that it's that moment that you thought of it.
So, right, to be fair, I always appreciate when people like you say things like that, industry people, respected people I just met, but I didn't create green screen content. Definitely I didn't create like nostalgic content of speaking about like certain things, because literally, right, I've had fans of other content people attack me in content of saying, yo, you saw this from such and such. You stole it from my mans. And I'm like, yo, respectfully, right? A lot of people didn't know I had a Snapchat show. So there's 2 years of content on my Snapchat that I didn't post anywhere else. So I don't have to post on any other social media platform for 2 years if I didn't want to, because my deal with Snapchat was that content had to live on there. And I purposely did like 60 episodes each season for a year. So we have like 200 episodes of content that no one has seen yet unless you go to my Snapchat, that I can just post anywhere else. And people don't realize that you got to focus on other platforms, right? And it's just, they put themselves in a one lane or eggs in one basket. And yeah, I could preach on forever about that. But
okay, so when it comes to this content and it comes to the history, because some of the things I feel like you're living, like Domino Sugar, to talk to them.
Yeah, that was fun, right?
That was when we were playing Manhunt. We were playing kickball in those factories. We were using those factories like growing up. Nobody wanted to go to that side of the water. It was like, mira, don't go back there because I don't know if you're going to come out of there.
Yeah, so it's like, I'm glad that my reach now has my content and awareness. I use it to reach other like avenues of the entertainment industry, right? When I tell people, if you're known for one thing, you can use that awareness to build a path of something else. So Kristen, who's the head of Open House New York, they're basically an organization that has access to like these, they open twice a year. That's how, like, not secret, but they're like they're public installations that are only open for those 2 times of a year. So they gave me access to architects in the city. And me thinking of how I am with content and how I speak to people, I've seen a Domino Sugar factory my whole life. We've all seen that our whole lives of just as a factory. And then like our parents, their parents knew it when it was working at one point, and it was classified as a landmark. So I reached out to one of the architects of the building when they were doing it and was like, hey, I want to like do this new content series where I interview architects. And they gave me the opportunity, and I was able to get the tour of the building and just do that aspect of showing people, you know, a building that we've seen our whole lives. And like I said, that's just me taking my knowledge of things and wanting to make it more, just be more out there. I don't want to
Seriously,
just
and
be an
so many of us
influencer.
that are in tune to it.
Yeah.
Like, who would have thought that would no, there's so many of us that wondered how long has this been in play? Like, did you guys always see this vision? And to hear that and to see that from someone who's, again, from the city. It just feels so much more, there's so much more of a connection. Okay, aside from this, hobbies, personal hobbies, because I remember seeing you in 2019. You had like a fashion sense to you. You gave like you're into fashion, you do voiceovers. Talk to me.
So the fashion aspect, right? Another thing, I live many lives. So I was I was actually a celebrity women's stylist for a very, very long time. That was like my actual profession and job. Like I got a salary for it. Like I was selling Birkin bags, like down payments on clothing, like, and that's why I told people, right, working with the 1% of America, that's who I was working with. I worked on Billionaires Row in the store I worked at, which I'm not gonna name. They're out of business already, but I just don't air dirty laundry. They were a very racist brand, right?
Okay.
And it's just I saw, like I said, working with the 1% of America, of people that are wealthy and people that are rich. And rich people act broke and broke people act rich. And I didn't realize that till working with people that, this one woman legit, I'm not even exaggerating to you, when she walked into the store I worked at, there's a doorbell and a doorman at my store, right? And there's only two associates, me and someone else. That's how like exquisite it was. She walks in, and then the store owner calls me on my personal phone and goes, she's wearing jewelry from the Titanic. That's all I'm going to tell you, and hung up. So she had about $10 million worth of jewelry on. Had like the Rolls Royce Phantom, that the big boy, like there's a certain Rolls Royce that people know about.
The one that has the umbrella in the door.
The umbrella in the door. Like that's why I tell people, these rappers don't have money. They're rich. They're not wealthy. These people have been wealthy for 100 years.
This is like grandpa money.
Exactly, right? Yeah. So working with her, the nicest woman in the world, bought me lunch the next day. She spent 100 grand, right? And I was like, wow, I'm working with a 1%. This woman was worth like this crazy amount of billions. And then I'm working with rappers because I used to work at Quad Studios, and they were the most bougie people in the world, right? So that's why I said I live many lives when it comes to things that, that's why I practice humility so much, because I could care less about a rapper or a content creator or somebody that thinks they're famous when I've worked with people that are worth lifetimes of amounts of money, that are the kindest people in the world.
I love that, because to me that takes your work to a certain standard. You know your worth. You know worth in general. You know how to carry yourself, and that comes from that military. That militant.
Definitely it was.
Right?
It came from that being militant and just, like I said, taking initiative of things and just, doing the right thing. Because at the end of the day, we were class clowns and stuff like that, but the military taught you to not leave anybody behind. And that's one thing that I could always remember, is that when we were in those aspects, we always looked out for each other, men and women. We were both looking out for each other. And once I got into the fashion aspect, it started literally like a Cinderella story. I started in stock, and then I worked my way up to $1 million associate, selling about 2-3 million a year in clothing. Yeah, so I tell people, don't ever work in retail or certain jobs that respectfully you could pass away, and in 2 weeks they'll replace you like nothing. Like, these people don't care about you.
I love that, Jen.
And HR is for the job, not for you. I learned that as well.
Oh, we just almost had to call HR, but please don't say it on camera. Why? Wow. Yeah. Just mind-blowing. And the fact that I just read that off of your post, like, I don't know, I didn't read that anywhere. Like, I just felt like there was a fashion sense to you.
Yeah, and I was in it for about 10 years. And I worked my way, like I said, I was like in H&M. My first retail job was the Children's Place, and then my last one was like the 1% job that I was selling Birkin bags and
Look
getting
at
like
that.
20%.
But again, you took something and you went to the max with it.
But then I took that aspect, the fashion aspect, the learning aspect, and brought it into today's world of what I do with content. So I learned, because I came from customer service. So once before I went to that 1% job, I was a customer service manager, and I was teaching associates how to sell. Because after I became that $1 million salesman, I taught people how to talk, right? It was just basically, it's called open-ended questions. It's right, like, how's your day going? Right? Oh, the weather's nice. How you feeling? It's a question you have to give an answer to, right?
Right.
That even if you was having a bad day, oh, it's whatever. But then now if you have that person that's genuine and organic with you, as opposed to the person that's like, hey, welcome to Gucci, we have 35% off. Nah, right? It's like you're already annoyed and maybe you're not there to shop. Maybe you're there to kill time or go on break.
Not right
Exactly.
now.
And I learned that aspect of customer service, what the customer wants, right? And then being the person to sell it to the customer, but then also being the customer taking it in. So I learned every aspect, and then that's why my content is the way how it is today. And I have like probably within the last 2 months, I'm not exaggerating, like 8 new partnerships.
Literally.
Yeah.
Because every time I talk to you, like, oh, I'm doing something weird. I'm like, yo, bro, I need to speak to you now before the chances are done.
Now, I always make time for people. Like, we're supposed to link and do this. So that's why even if it's like ahead of time, I always dedicate time to like make sure. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Okay. We got a whole Emmy. Now, can I say, when you posted about the Emmy, with the chicken wings, that we're eating the Chinese food, I was like, this guy just can't get. You really know how. Again, let's go back to you really know how to sell it. Now every time I say, really look at him selling shit to me again.
Yeah.
You really killed that moment because it's like, look at where it started to. Like, look at the whole momentum here.
So you want to hear something funny, right? I always tell people. I actually got this from my uncle. Shout out Vinny. I already was doing it, but he instilled it into me more of when you have ideas or things, actually write it on paper in a book. Don't write it on your phone. There's a different realm that you tap into, like spiritually, right?
Oh my God.
When you're writing down something and it's coming out of what you're writing, even if it's pen, ink, or a pencil, but writing it is a whole different way of letting it out. And I didn't realize that when I was writing down ideas. And I was writing down so much ideas that I went into my book, and so that I wrote down that whatever first award I won, I wanted it to be in a Chinese food restaurant. 4 years ago, I wrote it.
Oh my goodness.
So I went back to my book and I was just like looking at all the things and like all the new creatives I'm doing with Timberland and all of these new brands were commercials that I literally had written years ago before COVID in my book that I had in the West Coast. Yeah, so I tell people,
I have like 20
20
books, bro. I'm about to start looking for them. Like,
you'll always find something that you wrote when you was in your first thought process before you even where you're at today, and you're like, damn, that's fire where I could take it today, because it wasn't ready when you thought about it at that moment. And I was like, damn, the ideas that I had for the Planes commercial, right, was an idea that I wrote for a brand.
And shout out to Planes, right?
Yeah, all Planes.
We're all planed out today.
Yeah.
I knew the agenda.
Yeah.
I got the memo.
Yep. Yeah, and it's just like the Chinese food thing, that was like, it was just an iconic thing, because like I didn't even believe that we won that Emmy. And shout out to my guy Ray. He was the one that made it all happen. He's in the DOE as well. And he has this website where he has like animations for children from most of the age groups in school to learn ABCs, the numbers, hygiene, culture. And it's his team that did it. They won 6 Emmys already.
Wow.
And he has kids winning Emmys. His son won an Emmy. Like, he's orchestrating these kids at a young age to win these accolades at such a young age while they're still in school.
Beautiful.
He reached out to me. He was like, yo, I love your voice. I want you to be a part of this.
God.
Yeah, and then he was like, yo, I got an opportunity. Like, I love your short stories and your voice, and we'd love for you to do like a 10-minute one. So no one's seen it yet. I'm gonna do like a small little screening at the top of the year. Let you know about that too, and everybody definitely pull up. And we shot that in 2 weeks, and then I didn't think we were gonna get nominated. Like, it was submitted, and he said, "Yo, the nominations are on. They're gonna stream them." I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it. I was literally washing dishes.
Oh my goodness.
And he called me screaming. He was like, "Yo, we were nominated, baby." I'm like, "Oh, damn! Like what? Like, cause we've been going through a lot. Like my guy Santana lost his mom. I just recently lost my mom with Vinny. Yeah, and it's like she knew we got nominated, and then she passed away right before we won.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it was like a very heartfelt, bittersweet type thing, but she's the one that's making all of these things happen for me. I know that for a fact.
Yo, I think I wrote that to you.
Yeah, you wrote that to me too.
I wrote that to you. I said, bro, I know this is hard, but as of now, it's up and stuck. And thank you to our angels. Yep. Wow. Can we talk about the name of it?
Yeah, so it's Chopped Cheese Deli Days, Dollar Slice City Nights, The Eternal Appetite of the Big Apple, a ballad by FerrisWheelJay. You know, it's funny. It's a super long name, right? That I got messed it up.
I love it.
I messed it up when I was interviewed on Fox 5. And that was like my second news interview, which was funny, right? I didn't tell anyone this. And I'm going to post a photo. When I was 20, I was interviewed by Fox 5 because I was working with like this app at the time. Well, not even an app. It was a website. There were no apps at the time. But it was a website that was helping music artists stream their music and make monetization of it. Because I was a rapper 10 years ago. And full circle moment to be interviewed again by Fox 5 News today for what I'm doing. It was just like, wow, that was crazy. Like to be able to facilitate what I'm doing now and bring that back. But then now with the message that I wanted to show everybody.
And I love when you said the title. I like, you just sound, it's so authentic.
Yeah.
It's so authentic to what we get on Instagram. It's so authentic and it's just a good feeling. It feels like home.
Yeah, and it was literally like what it is, like a chopped cheese. Like you'll get chopped cheese whenever. I've gotten it for dinner too, but like you usually get that during the day for lunch. And then the Dollar Slice City nights, I literally was thinking about the nights I'll have with my friends when we're drunk
after the club,
and you get that dollar slice. That's just everything in the world to you. And then
the fact that it's $1.
Yeah,
and it tastes
the fact that it's $1, and then I call it the eternal appetite of the Big Apple, and a ballad by FerrisWheelJay. And that was Santana, that my guy Santana, my main director, who's like, he discovered me during COVID. He saw my voiceover go viral on TikTok, and he was like, bro, your voice is incredible. I want to cast you for something. And then we've been brothers since.
I love the fact too that you went from rapping into voicing to now what you're doing, because to me it still taps into that.
Yep. And I'm gonna release a song.
Oh,
so I'm gonna do a. It's funny because I won a gaming competition that just unfortunately fell through. The funding just didn't happen to come through at the end of the day with like the 10 people they were gonna work with. But I rapped as Deadpool and I called him Dead Ass Pool because I do the New York City stuff.
Dead ass.
And I won rapping like a 16 of like Deadpool being in the city. And everyone knows I make everything New York City driven, but everyone's about to find out now that I'm taking my voice and making it more out nationwide and then worldwide. Like I'm known in New York, but then now my voice could be in Japan, that type of thing.
Oh, and they love the accents from over here. Yeah. So it's a wrap. It's a wrap. So creativity is intelligence having fun.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
So that was an Einstein quote. And it was funny because when I read it, I was like, wow, that's actually very, very interesting how he put that. Because when I really thought about it, right, when everybody was seeing my creatives and my viral content and like these new campaigns that I'm doing, right, they're super, super creative, but I'm really taking my time to intelligently break it down of how this would be impactful to whoever's watching it. Wow. I'm not just thinking of something that's funny. I'm not a comedian. I do comedic one-liners, right? I know stand-up comedians that are hilarious that can do a whole set, but using my intelligence for what I know from, like I said, coming from a marketing aspect, customer service aspect, being a consumer and being the product pushing it out, that's me using my intelligence for all of that and bringing it together. Because I also learned something called neuromarketing, right? And neuromarketing is also using the intelligence for the creativity that you're creating, right? You ever looked at a menu, right, and seen the food and there's no $sign near it?
Yes.
And then there's menus that have the $sign clearly, right? You know why there's no $sign near it?
No.
When you see a $250 steak, right, and there's no $sign near it, this is extravagant. This is like fancy. pinky up. But you see a dollar sign there, a $30 burger, that's mad money for a burger. That dollar sign in your mind is telling you you're spending money. Just by simply taking the dollar sign out. There's menus in restaurants now that have $30 burgers that are trash, but they don't have the dollar sign there because neurologically your brain doesn't see the dollar sign.
So you're going to spend.
So you're just going to spend. And that's neuromarketing. And I took that aspect as well in putting it into my content of seeing, all right, I like this as a consumer, as a product, but how would the person see it on the outside looking in? Is this going to be impactful? Is this going to get the engagement I want? Is this going to get sales? Because there's also sales versus engagement. You're not always going to guarantee both. And you have to see which one more is like you want. People always want the sales for things. But I always say to go more for the engagement, because when you build the engagement and then it's sustainable, now that turns into sales over time over whatever you're doing. People focus too much on making money and what they're doing first.
What? Talk about lesson that we got today.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so you're working with Netflix. Did you do something with Netflix? I thought you did something with Netflix.
No, not Netflix. Well, we just did something with Doritos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that or no?
Yeah, so it was a Super Bowl competition.
Okay.
With the commercial, and it's basically for like $1 million, which was dope. But it's basically like the creative of like how you would see the Doritos commercial. And like I said, I'm thinking of if this is the Super Bowl, it has to be something not super, super outlandish, but something that's just so fun and quirky that people watching it during the Super Bowl, oh, that's funny, that's cute. Because at the end of the day, families watch it too, right? There's that whole America that watches the football aspect. Right. There's people that don't care for sports, but they care for the big sports events that it brings people together. They sell, like I said, I forgot what the amount, they said the most amount of wings during the Super Bowl can circulate the world. And I didn't know that. In just America, that's how many wings they order for just the Super Bowl.
Y'all be wildin'.
I also be knowing strange facts like Ripley's.
Yeah, and so now that aspect of the creative process, you're just a reader, you just like to research stuff,
So I'm taking, right, someone just invested in me to take a journalism course in NYU. I didn't realize that I was already doing journalism as the content that I do, right? When people, I know you've seen it, right? People will post an article, not fact check it, and be like, oh my God, y'all seen this? One, not seeing that the date was 6 years ago, talking about someone just passed away, RIP or whatever. Two, not doing credible verifications of the source that you're reading that you're going to portray to people. And I just learned that the journalism's job is to portray the truth, right? And they can't have their own morals in it and their own opinion. To an extent you can, but you have to give the truth.
That's so interesting.
That's your
There's
duty
no
to give the truth. There's no bias at it. You just have to give the truth for people to give their own assumption on it now. And what the truth of the journalism is, I do that all the time. When I do my You're Not From New York City If, I fact check all of that stuff. So there's stuff that I've seen, I'm like, damn, let me fact check before I say the Yankees literally got their symbol from a New York City cop badge. And I didn't realize that till I did credible sources and kept looking at it.
I love it.
And I'm like, damn, they really got their symbol from a badge. And it was like multiple respected sources, people from the MLB commission that spoke on it. And now the Yankees will never admit it because they don't have to, right? But it's not reinventing the wheel.
And do the Yankees even know? You think they know?
Yeah, they definitely know because the person...
like, oh yeah.
So here was the fun fact that I said on it. The person that commissioned the symbol for the NYPD badge for the first cop that was shot from Tiffany and Co. was the last NYPD commissioner. So when he left, and then he became a part owner of the Yankees. So he was from the NYPD already, got it commissioned. So it was like, it was in, how was it not a part, right? So it was like, it was credible sources, but then they not, and there was a historian that said that, looked him up. And I was like, damn, the content that I'm doing, I actually fact checked it already. And then I'd be telling family like, yo, like, did you look at that article? Cause it's like a spoof. Or did you see the date? Because it's 10 years ago. Like,
especially now on social media, I feel like they see anything and they just take it and run with it.
Yeah, and it's like, that's why you gotta, social media is dangerous. And it's like, another thing I learned is like social media today is navigating people to warp them to believe in things that aren't true, and not even letting them care to fact check it. They're just seeing something. I'm seeing so many people repost AI videos, right? And I'm like, yeah, that can be believable, but you didn't really fact check to see if that was real to say, oh my God, this is so crazy.
Nah, but I always feel in those AI videos, there's like one part that you're like, all right.
And I tell people, you have to look. Yeah, you have to look. And then nowadays, people that's mixing CGI with AI, which is messing up the actual thing, because they're CGIing the AI to take out the messed up effects of the things that you're seeing.
What?
Like if I show you AI what we did, it turned a scene that didn't happen into a scene. And I'm like, wow, you didn't know that it was AI till you saw her feet. But if you chopped it, if you edited it right before you saw her feet, you would have thought it was an edit. That's why we don't use AI. We're strictly against it.
Wow. Nah, but you know way too much. I'm like, you are just a powerhouse. Okay, so are we going into the next Steven Spielberg? Are we going into?
I don't know. It's so crazy to tell you what I'm doing right now, and I'm telling everybody because I don't have a manager, I don't have an agency. I'm strictly free agent still, and no one believes me when I say that. I do have people that I work with. I do have people that help me take partnerships and make them bigger. But for the most part, this is me coming up with the creatives and brands reaching out to me or vice versa. Me sending them my media kit.
That's such a beautiful thing. I don't think you need a manager or anything. I think I do.
No, I definitely do.
It's like,
I definitely do.
And the money starts to come in big.
Yeah, because it's definitely overwhelming. And like I tell people too, when a brand has full access to you, they already have a one-up.
Yep.
But now that I won that Emmy, no one's telling me nothing. And I'm turning down brands now, respectfully, because I'm like, you're not going to play me in my face something I know that I deserve when I know you'll give this person that amount that I deserve. But now I got to work for it when I already...
So what keeps you in that light? What keeps you with that power? Where, because I feel like, again, I know we talked about going 6th grade to 12th grade, but you just have something about you that the motivation is just, that's not breaking.
I just want more. And like, to be fair, when my mom passed, I was set free. And it sounds crazy to say that. Like, she was suffering a lot. And like, my close friends and family knew that. And I dwelled on a lot of it. Like, I kept telling myself, I got to make it to make her better, make her like, and somebody real close to me said, yo, bro, what if she passes in the middle of you doing it? And I'm like, damn, nobody told me that, because I was living for her when I needed to live for myself. And that wasn't selfish. I had to live for myself, because I couldn't do nothing unless I was good before I even did anything for her.
That's right.
And yeah, it was hard. And that motivation now, like, that's what instills me to just want more, right? That's what instills me that brands that legit, I tried to work at Timberland 10 years ago. I tried to get a job at the 34th Street store. Now I have a partnership with them. So it's like, it's full circle things that's why I say don't burn bridges. Always don't say like, that should have been me, or why did they get it? I always tell myself, I can't wait to get it, right? As opposed to, why did they get it? Or they don't deserve it, or I deserve it. Because people watch other people for no reason. And as corny as you think someone is, right? I know a lot of corny people, right? That got way more drive and are way more consistent with putting product out than the most talented person in the room. That are actually talented. I'm not taking it away from them, but there's no drive because they're so talented. The most talented people are the laziest, and that's something that I learned.
And I feel like the most talented people too at times just have this aura of, I got this. So you're always with that I got this mentality. And
you know, another thing too,
the turtle made it.
Another thing,
the rabbit swore he was chilling. The rabbit went, chilled it. The turtle made it and beat him.
Another thing, respectfully, is those people that have that mentality. You know why I give them the benefit of the doubt? Because they feel like they got it. Because one, they do. I'm not going to take it away.
Yeah.
But they're jaded because they've been doing it for so long. Their opportunities still didn't really come through. And then they're seeing people around them just blow up overnight with the most dumbest things that they're seeing.
And then some of that is not even overnight. Like, just like you said,
it's working. Yeah,
it was 2 years on Snapchat before they even... So y'all thinking like and I'm 2 years in already.
Yep.
Yo, the name, where does it come from? FerrisWheelJay.
So Ferris Bueller, originally, they were telling my mom that your son thinks he's Ferris Bueller because I would get the classes attention. Yeah,
Bueller.
And then the Ferris wheel from Coney Island in Brooklyn.
Yeah, that's
And
what I
then just
thought,
put
but I
those
love
together.
the whole
Yeah.
Bueller
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, I put them together, and then Jay, my real name's Justin, which I also go by a lot more now. With the productions I've been doing, the nominations, the credits, I go with my real name now.
That's right. Let's put it out there. Yo, I am super honored. I cannot wait to see where this goes.
Thank you.
You're from 2020, 2019
Yeah.
to now, and that's me watching in.
Yeah.
Because during 2020 and everything we went through, there was staples, I feel, in New York that kept us alive, that kept the businesses thriving, that kept the city going. When the city shut off, it kept the city going.
Yeah.
And you was that.
I appreciate that.
So coming from a real New Yorker.
Yeah, thank you.
A real New Yorker.
Thank you.
We thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm so excited to see where you go. And God bless everything you've been through, the mentality, the creativity. Thank you for dropping so many gems here.
Thank you for having me, for the time, and I'm hopefully with these gems. I always tell people, not a lot of people drop gems, so definitely use them. Not a lot of people drop gems without charging. Let's start with that. So
literally,
when I learn things, I don't gatekeep, and I think knowledge should be passed on, like I said with journalism, and I'm learning all of that now with that. So that's why I pass on all of that knowledge for people to learn and use it for themselves.
And what I love too is that you really gave a transparency behind the scenes on how you got to work on your art. I feel like right now we're thinking, oh, social media, oh my God, my last video did 10K and I didn't. You got to work on your art. And from jump, you said, I took a class for this, I do this. Putting that credibility behind the art.
Yeah.
It's a job.
Yeah.
No, we're not going to say you got to treat it like a job.
Yep.
And I love that you're here saying that for the kids watching, for the adults watching, for the creators in general.
Yeah.
I feel like it's something right now where we're talking about, we don't need the colleges, and we don't need, and we're kind of missing what those aspects teach us.
Exactly, and the fundamentals. Yep.
To take it to the Emmy.
Yep.
To take it, to bring it here, bro. God bless.
Thank you so much.
Yo, you heard it here, yo. He pulled up. You're